So yes, Hare Krishna. So we'll continue with our discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll start with the second chapter today. So in the first chapter, what happened is like we discussed how the sages of Naimisharanya they choose Sutta Goswami to narrate them the Srimad Bhagavatam, and they put forth questions, few questions that are put forth by the sages of Naimisharanya. These are the like what they ask. They ask what is the ultimate good for the every human being. Mm. And next question is what is the essence of all scriptures? And one minute. And what is the purpose of Krishna's incarnation appearances? Mm. And they again ask about Purusha Avataras, and they also request about to explain about Leela Avataras. And then finally they ask, after Krishna disappeared, after Krishna left, went back to Golok Vrindavan, or spiritual world, whom did the this Dharma took shelter? So these are the 6 questions put forth by the sages of Naimisharanya. So if we see the other Acharya's commentaries, they actually they they actually put the same question in a different manner. For example, what is the principle, like for the first question, what is the essence of all scriptures? I think Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he puts like what is the principle means to achieve the ultimate good. Hmm? And what is the essence of all scriptures means, again the second question goes to like what is the means by which I can the what is the means to achieve the means uh, what is the ultimate good means, then for the answer that they says is achieving the pure devotional service to Krishna is the ultimate good for all living entities. And second question is the respect to what is the means to achieve pure devotional service means sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is the only means by which to achieve shuddha bhakti. To achieve pure devotional, we have to we have to we have to approach Krishna through sadhana bhakti. And the purpose of Krishna's appearance is same. And in the fourth question they say different Purusha avatars, no? But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he actually says that what is the uh, explain about the incarnation of Krishna's incarnation, how he supported through his incarnation entire creation, like that. And Leela avatars, but there are different kinds of avatars. Okay, there are Guna avatars, and there are Purusha avatars, there are Leela avatars, there are Mannavanta avatars, there are Yuga avatars, and there are Shakti Avasha avatars. These are the 6 type of avatars that that are there in the scriptures. So so now among these 6 questions, uh, Sutta Goswami answers question 1, question 2, question 3, and question 4 in the second chapter only. Mm. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita gives the essence of entire, mean the what you call overview of entire Bhagavad Gita, right? In the same way, in the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam also, uh, Vyasdev gives like a essence, what is the ultimate essence, and what is to be what we have to get through this process of devotional service. He gives the entire essence of Srimad Bhagavatam in a concise manner in second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. So entering into the second chapter, so Sutta Goswami perfectly satisfied the questions thanked them and attempted to reply. So, Sutta Goswami is the disciple of Shukadeva Goswami because he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukadeva Goswami, and from there that time onwards, from there he is narrating the same Srimad Bhagavatam to the sages of Naimisharanya. So when he does, he actually pays obeisances to Shukadeva Goswami and glorifies him. Says Shukadeva Goswami is the spiritual master of all the sages, mm, and also he glorifies bhakti, and he says the superiority of Krishna's worship in this chapter. So then Sukadeva Goswami started narrating, and then he glorifies Sukadeva Goswami. Yasvanubhavam akila shruti saramekam adhyatma deepam aditir tamondam samsarinam karunaya purana guhyam tam vyasashunam upayanti gurum muninam. Sukadeva Goswami, the spiritual master of all the sages, who, out of his great compassion for the gross materialist, spoke after his personal assimilation this cream of Vedic scriptures that acts as a transcendental torchlight, Adhyatma Deepam. Okay, so he actually, Sukadeva Goswami offers obeisances to Shukadeva Goswami first, and then he offers. We'll discuss a little bit of Shukadeva Goswami's appearance also, and he then again presiding deities Narayana Manamaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. So he offers obeisances to Narnarayan Rishi, Mother Saraswati, and Vyasdev also. And after that, he glorifies the audience. Munaya Sadhu Prishtoham Bhavabdir Loka Mangalam यत्कृतः कृष्णः सम्प्रश्नो येनात्मा samprasidati. So he appreciates the audience and he says like, I have been justly questioned by you. Only questions relating to Krishna are capable of benefiting all and completely satisfy the self. So what we have to learn from the how Sutta Goswami is following etiquette. He's glorifying his guru first, and then he's glorifying his param guru, and he's glorifying the presiding deity of Vak, means the knowledge, Saraswati, and also he is presiding glorifying the great sage Narayana Rishi. So one has to all give respects to all respect to everybody. You should not like we should, like we just say, pay obeisance to guru or neglect others, or pay respects to others, and not even, we should not neglect the audience. We should actually respect them, and we should also appreciate them whatever they are no they are up to. So then Sutta Goswami then finally enters into answering the questions. So he first starts with this verse, no? Save pumsan paro dharma yato bhakti radokshaje ahetuki pratihata yayatma suprasidati. So basically at that, not even at that point of time, any point of time when the in this modern in the society, right from the beginning, the varnashrama system has to be given high importance, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right, whoever is situated in varnashram system are systematically progressing towards the ultimate goal, or they are in they are in knowledge, and whoever is not following varnashram system is are in ignorance. Okay, so but now Bhagavad Gita is, that's why Bhagavad Gita is called preliminary study, because it is for the newcomers. I think I'm hearing my voice. Can everybody mute? Okay, I'll mute. So, so Bhagavad Gita stresses on in not stresses. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives the importance like it's for the beginners. They have to follow the varnashram dharma first, because right from the neophytes, like right from no, right from the birth or right from the atheistic mentality, one cannot directly come into pure bhakti. First they have to take up the varnashram system. For varnashram system, after doing successfully for for long time, then they have to gradually serve the devotees and then gain the knowledge of what is the essence of varnashram system. So now when it comes to Srimad Bhagavatam says in the second verse only that uh, it will reject all the Kaitava dharmas, means all the cheating religions. Means Varnashrama dharma is not going to give the ultimate benefit of the ultimate essence for the human for the welfare of the um jivas. So then Sukadeva Goswami is saying here, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma Yato Bhakti Radakshi, means the supreme occupation of all humanity is to achieve the unmotivated and uninterrupted devotional service to the Lord. So that is the essence of all the essence of all the dharmas. That is Paro Dharma. So if Varnashram system or anything that any endeavor that we do in this material world is not aimed at getting this uh, unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service to the Lord, then it is waste of time. Okay. That's what he says in the next verse. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janyatya Suvairagyam Jnanam Chayada Haitukim. You don't have to do any endeavor. You don't have to go and you don't have to make endeavor to get knowledge. You don't have to make any special effort to to develop renunciation. You don't have to do anything. You just engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Then the bhakti to the Lord immediately gives the knowledge and detachment simultaneously. So that's why you don't have to be gnani, you don't have to be karmi, you don't have to be yogi, like ashtanga yogi or anything like that. You just take up the process of devotional service and just be just do bhakti unto the Lord Krishna. Then that will give the ultimate essence, whatever is required. It will give knowledge and detachment that is required to perfect our life. Then he goes and says, if one does not do that, so if one does not do that, but uses varnashram dharma for anything else, then he says about them, dharma swanustita pumsa visvaksena kata suya naut padayat etiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. So he says, varnashram dharma is not paro dharma. Occupational duties are only a useless labor if they do not provoke the attraction to the Lord's message. So the goal of varnashram system should be that it should increase our attraction towards Krishna, or to hear Kataruchi, means to hear about the pastimes or glories or leelas of Krishna. If your varnashrama is not enabling, or if your varnashram system is not if you are not developing that taste, means there is something wrong in your varnashrama living, means something wrong wherever you are situated. So if something is not enabling, nautpadayat etirati, means this rati is not there, this taste is not developing, then this shremaya bhai kevalam, it is useless labor. So this varna system should not be used for any material sense gratification. Its only aim is to develop attraction towards hearing Krishna. So this varnashram system, the purpose of this varnashram system is to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So one should use varnashram system for maintaining a healthy life for self-preservation. We need our body and our this family and everything that needs some kind of maintenance. So this varnashram system should be used for that kind of person, for that kind of thing, for for preservation, means we should not make extraneous endeavor for eating, sleeping and mating, defending. We should only do the needful in that areas and focus on spiritual advancement. And we have to maintain healthy life and inquire about the absolute truth. So truth, who is like that? Then like when we say focus on absolute truth, what is absolute truth? Then he says in the 11th verse, vadanti tat tattvavidastatvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdate. So Shukadeva Goswami says this tattva is referred to by in three ways: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So by different persons with different perspective. But these three are all bona fide. But there are gradations. We'll see the gradations later on in this chapter. Okay. So so this the purpose of this varnashram system is samsiddhir haritoshanam, means we have to, it is to be maintained for the pleasure of Hari. Okay. So next, when you say like there should be one pointed focus towards the devotional service. Tasma dekena manasa bhagavan satvatam pati. Hmm? So the qualification of such bhakti is faith in the Lord's message. Oh, sorry, it's same. So next, from verse number 16 to 22, these are all given in the Bhakti Rasam by Rupa Goswami, but they are actually coming from Srimad Bhagavatam itself. So here uh, I'll first see the difference between Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan relation. Okay. So we mentioned, right, vadanti tattadvavidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdate. So this tattva means has three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So it is said that Brahman realization, like a Paramatma realization, is greater than Brahman realization, and Bhagavan realization is greater than Paramatma realization. And I will explain to you like how uh, how the difference, what is the different, in what different ways that we can view that these differences. Okay. So Brahman realization is mainly for the jnanis. No, jnanis, uh, they focus on Brahman realization because they see how Lord is all pervading, how the energies of Krishna are, Krishna is all knowing through his expansion as impersonal expansion. So that's how, no, like this jnana is, what they say is, when we say about matter is limited. When you take any material form, it has limitations. So we cannot limit the unlimited supreme personality of Godhead in a limited form. That is how they justify their Brahman concept. Okay. And this is a partial realization. And Paramatma realization is yogis. Okay. Paramatma is situated within the heart, right? And yogis, they meditate and they do lot of tapasya and to realize that they are not this body. And finally they realize that they are the soul. And through their meditation, they focus on Paramatma within the heart. And they get a glimpse of Paramatma, that is the relation of Ashtanga yogis. Okay. So I wrote here yogis means Ashtanga yogis. Okay. And then Bhagavan is for the devotees, and the devotees can appreciate in uh, all the features of uh, Bhagavan, means all the features including Brahman and Paramatma features also, and means like they will have complete realization of the Lord, or the complete tattva gnan. Okay. So in order to see how different realizations we have, it's like, when we have a chappan bog or a room filled with tasty milk sweets or no, different preparations. And if a person is blindfold, and when we take that person into that room and say that you cannot see anything but you can only experience it, okay, then that person can only smell the things, right? Okay, this is smelling good, this is smelling good, like that, and he cannot relish the any of it, okay, means he cannot even appreciate the beauty of the that preparations, okay. So and this is called Brahman realization, means he can only sense that there is something pleasurable there, okay. And Paramatma realization is yogis, and yogis is the second type of person. He can only see but he cannot taste anything, okay. So when that kind of person goes into a room filled with very tasty delicious preparations, he can only see, and then he can get some kind of sensual pleasure, means some kind of pleasure he can experience, some kind of okay, these are nice preparations, this might taste like that. So that kind of conception he may develop. And the Bhagavan relation, that this third person, this person he can go and each taste and each and every item. That is the person who is a Bhagavan realization. So this person can see, can smell, and also can eat. So he can fully relish that object, right? He can fully relish that sweets, and sweets are the delicious preparations. So that is one criteria. What is that? That is the difference. So the Brahman realized devotees can only experience the Brahman realization means nothing but absence of material anxieties. And the Paramatma realization is little bit above the Brahman realization. And Bhagavan realization means full realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So another example is Brahman realization is like a plain boiled milk. And Paramatma realization is like a flavored milk. And and Bhagavan realization is like all varieties of milk sweets. Like Prabhupada says there are 400 varieties of milk sweets. Okay, then Bhagavan realization is can give access to all the varieties of milk sweets. So he can experience all the taste. So another criteria is like Brahman realization, like if a person is suffering from diarrhea, and he goes to a doctor and doctor gives some medicine and he gets relief from diarrhea, means, and the doctor advises, okay, you should not eat anything now, you have to wait. So that is the situation of the person who is in Brahman realization platform, means his position is only absence of suffering, and he experiences pleasure because only there is no suffering, because the suffering that he has going through till that point of stage has come to an end. So due to this absence of pain, he experiences some kind of satisfaction, that is Brahman realization. And Paramatma realization is then the relief from diarrhea, and but still on saline, or you can take some plain foods like like only eat or white rice or something like that, okay. And Bhagavan relation is there is no diarrhea problem at all, he can fully enjoy full course of meal. So that is the difference. So this is the difference between Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan relations, okay. So that's why this bhakti will give access to Bhagavan realization. So you don't need any jnana, you don't need any vairagya, you don't need anything, but you just go ahead and have access to the ultimate benefit of uh, God realization. So that's what Srila Prabhupada explains. Then in the stages of bhakti from the verse number 16 to 22, like you first Suta Goswami established the bhakti will give the ultimate benefit, and then he explains how to progress in the bhakti, okay. So verse number 16 says, शुश्रूषो श्रद्धानस्य वासुदेव कथारुचि शान्महत्सेवया विप्रा पुण्यतीर्थानि सेवनात्. So shush means this bhakti is made possible by the service to great devotees. That's where bhakti starts, no? So when we come to the temple, we pay obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, we hear about, we sit and hear in Srimad Bhagavatam class, and then we render some service to the temple. That is where our bhakti starts. And then hearing and with care attention. After you render some service and you hear with them. So that's why Krishna also says, right, in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we have to serve the Guru and humbly inquire from him. Hmm? So by serving, we develop the affinity to hear about the glories of Supreme Personality of Godhead, because Krishna and Krishna's glories are non-different. So when we please the devotees by our service, then Krishna will be satisfied with us. Only then you will be able to listen or appreciate the Krishna Katha. Then when we hear Krishna Katha, then our Shraddha, faith will develop by serving, faith will develop on serving the devotees, because we see the advancement that we make. So this is the easiest path. Then we take, after that Punya Tirtha Nishevana means like serving those who are freed from the all vices, means Guru Padashraya, means taking the shelter of Guru. First we serve the devotees, we hear from them, and then we accept a Guru. That is the first step, okay? And then that is the first four steps. First, what we do, first we get the causeless mercy of devotees, and we render service unto him, and then we hear from them, and then we take shelter of a Guru. That is first four steps of 14 stages of bhakti. Mm. And then this is called Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha and Bhajana Kriya. And then next step is Shrunvatam Swakatam Krishna Punya Shravanati Kirtana Hridayantastha Bhadrani Vidunoti Suhrutsatam. Such hearer develops the virtue to hear and chant the glories of Krishna. And then Krishna, the benefactor of the devotees, cleanses the heart of material desires. This is the next step, okay? Bhajan, Anartha Nivritti, okay? Bhajana Kriya, sorry. And then next step is Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So then you will develop this affinity, means it will remove all the it will develop loving service to the Lord, and then by regularly hearing from the Srimad Bhagavatam, it destroys all the inauspiciousness, and it will arouse the loving service towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what is this? These are sixth, seventh, and eighth stages. Okay, means Anartha Nivruti, Nishtha, and Ruchi. Anartha Nivruti and Nishtha. Okay, and then next it says Tada Rajastamo Bhava Kama Lobha Dayaschaye Chetayetir Anavriddhim Sthitam Sattve Prasidhati. It will destroy all the lower tendencies, okay? And mind is unaffected due to being established by in goodness. Means it will bring us to the platform of pure goodness. That is Ruchi and Asakti. And then it will bring from there, it will when we develop that, then we develop, then it will take us to the Bhava and Prema stage, which is like, Evam prasanna manaso bhagavad bhakti yogata bhagavad tattva vijnanam mukta sangha sangasya jayate. Okay, so from there it will give us rati, the fondness, and prema, devotion towards the Krishna, and then finally he will be able to experience the love of devotion, loving devotion service. Okay, so these are the like 14 stages of bhakti that is given in these verses from 16 to 22. So all the slokas are worth of memorizing. Okay, and then finally the results of following the process of bhakti is stated in the verse number 21. Okay, विद्यते हृदयः ग्रन्थिश्चिन्तन्ते सर्वसंशया क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृष्ट्वा एवात्मनीश्वरे. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced, all misgivings are cut into pieces. The chain of karma is terminated when one sees the self as a master. So that is the transcendental platform of bhakti. So when one reaches that platform, then he will be free from all the uh, material contaminations, and he will be directly experiencing the bhava and prema of the like being engaged in devotional service. So next, after explaining all this, the essence of all process is this is like given by Sutta Goswami gives, right? Vasudeve Paraveda, Vasudeve Paramaka, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeve Parakriya, Vasudeve Param Jnanam, Vasudeva Param Tapa, Vasudeva Paro Dharmo, Vasudeva Paragatihi. So, what is the ultimate essence of the process of bhakti is the ultimate object of all the Vedas is Krishna, Sri Krishna. The purpose of all sacrifices is to please Krishna. The purpose of yoga is to realize Krishna. The fruitive activities are rewarded by Krishna. Sri Krishna is the supreme knowledge. Austerities are performed to know Krishna. And religion, dharma is the loving service to Krishna. And the supreme goal of life is Krishna. So that is the essence. That's Sutta Goswami says. No? We perform all this thing only for the pleasure of Krishna, to know Krishna. So when it comes to Srimad Bhagavatam, so Bhagavatam is giving all these things. Vasudeva is ultimate goal, ultimate gati, dharma, tapa, jnana, kriya, yoga, maka, veda. Ultimate goal of all these process is to realize Vasudeva. So, and after explaining all these things, then Sukadeva, like first Sukadeva Goswami establishes, says that Varnashram system, the aim of Varnashram system is to develop develop affinity towards here Krishna pastimes. Okay, and he establishes the how Krishna is the ultimate, the the process of bhakti is ultimate, and he describes about the different stages of bhakti, and then he describes how the Krishna is ultimate. We don't have to worship any other demigods. He rejects all the demigod worship and says Vasudeva is the ultimate goal. And then he goes ahead and explains about Purushavaras and incarnations. Okay, he in this chapter he only answers like up to 4 questions. Okay, so first the answer for their he answered the 4th question first. He says about Purushavaras from verses 30 to 33. He says about Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Kshirodakshaya Vishnu in the beginning of material creation, Karnodakshaya Vishnu. Karnodakshaya Vishnu in the beginning of material creation, by his own potency, creates the universes composed of modes and material causes and effects. So all the universes are emanating from the Karnodakshaya Vishnu. When so it is said that when Karnodakshaya Vishnu or Mahavishnu breathes out, universes comes from his body, and then they develops into different Brahmandas. And these Brahmandas and into each universe, Lord again enters as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and he enters into each universe and then fills half of it with his water, with his and then with water, and then he lays on that water. that is called Garbha Udaka. Udaka means water, right? So he lays on there, and then from there he creates Brahma and all the demigods, all the 14 planetary systems, and all material creation takes place in each shell of the universe. Okay, like as we see, some eggs are there right here. So he is called Garbhodaka ocean, Garbhodaka Vishnu. So after creating that, when all the material worlds are created, then when Brahma creates, then all the jiva, all the souls are put into the pradhan of that universe. And then when the souls take up the bodies, then Lord again expands into his plenary expansion as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, and he resides in the heart of each and every living entity. So that is called Paramatma. Okay. So the Lord as super soul pervades all the living things and thus appears to the many, although he is without the second. Okay. So that is in the short way he explains about the glories of uh, like Purushavataras, and how Lord expands and Lord maintains all the inhabitants and demigods, men and lower animals, assuming various incarnations. So he performs various pastimes to reclaim the souls, those in modes of pure goodness. Okay. So when Lord, like until now, he only created Purusha avatars. Purusha avatars meant for maintaining the universe. Okay. So when he in the next chapter he starts with Leela avatars. Okay. Purusha avatars, but he also says that in order to reclaim the souls who came into this material world, the souls who are in pure goodness, in order to reclaim them, he comes and performs his Leela avatars. So this is what explained by Sutta Goswami. So now, like I should have mentioned here only. Anyhow, we'll discuss about the pastime of Shukadeva Goswami. Shukadeva Goswami is going to come in the maybe third chapter, or not third chapter, sixth chapter. Sorry. So what happened is when Sutta Goswami was offering prayers to Sukadeva Goswami, he narrates how Sukadeva Goswami by birth is Brahman realized. And when he was in the womb of his mother, means Vyasdev's wife, he was not coming out of the womb of Vyasdev's wife, his mother. And for he stays in the womb for 16 years. And Vyasdev was concerned because it is very difficult for his mother to do anything with him being in the womb. So he brings Krishna. Like why Sukadeva Goswami was not coming out of this womb of the mother, because he was already Brahman realized within the womb. So there is another pastime where Sukadeva Goswami was the parrot of Radharani, and when Krishna went back to Godhead, and he left this the parrot so that it will narrate the Srimad Bhagavatam. It shows the evidence of the Radha Krishna Leela. And this parrot was there, and when one time Mother Parvati asked Lord Shiva to narrate Srimad Bhagavatam to her. So when Lord Shiva started narrating Srimad Bhagavatam, Mother Parvati was responding to his narration and saying, uh, acknowledging his narration. Then, but due to some reasons, she falls asleep. So and Lord Shiva was closed his eyes and narrating the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he didn't even see that Srimad Parvati Devi is getting into sleep. And then what happens, like but along with Parvati Devi, this parrot who is sitting in the Kailash was listening the Srimad Bhagavatam from Lord Shiva. So and but this parrot feels that like Parvati Devi is going into sleep, and Lord Shiva is closing his eyes and narrating the Srimad Bhagavatam. And if Parvati Devi stops responding to Shiva's narration, this Srimad Bhagavatam narration may get uh, stopped. So what she responds to Lord Shiva, the parrot starts responding to Lord Shiva's narration. So, and Lord Shiva narrates entire Srimad Bhagavatam, and then after narrating, Lord Shiva opens eyes and sees, and Lord Shiva opens eyes and sees that Parvati Devi is fast asleep, and then he becomes very, and then surprised. Then who is responding to my narration? Then he looks around, and he finds nobody, and he looks up and he sees parrot was there. So he gets angry. This parrot has fooled me. So he threw his trident on the parrot. So parrot, in order to escape from the trident, it flew off, and immediately at that time Vyasdev's wife was yawning, and it entered into the womb mouth and directly went into the womb of Vyasdev's wife. That's how they say. So, but uh, as for, and it stays and it develops into Sukadeva Goswami, and then Sukadeva Goswami is not coming out of the womb of the mother Parvati. So in order to then Vyasdev asks, why like you are not coming out of the womb of your mother? Then Sukadeva Goswami from the womb, he says, no, I am fearful of Maya. If I come out of Maya, will catch me. I don't want to come out. I am comfortable here only, like that. But in order to convince Sukadeva Goswami, Vyasdeva brings Krishna himself directly, and Krishna assures Sukadeva Goswami that I will personally protect you, and Maya will not catch you. He personally assures Sukadeva Goswami. Then Sukadeva Goswami comes out of the womb of his mother. As soon as he comes out of the womb of his mother, he starts living towards forest, because you don't want to be in the families and be attached to the family affection. So he starts living, and Vyasdev was concerned, why this boy is living, because as per the Varnashram system, it is said that no, Janmana Jayate Sudra means everybody by birth is a Sudra, and Samskarat Bhavet Dvija. When when the samskaras are done, he will become a Dvija, means a second born. Mm. And Veda Patat Bhavet Vipra, and Brahma Janati iti Brahmana. So this is the criteria, means by birth everyone is a Sudra, and when he goes through the samskaras, then he will become a Dvija. And then after samskaras, then when he learns the scriptures, mm, Veda Patat Bhavet Vipra, he will become a Vipra. And then after learning after getting jnana, when he applies them and gains the vijnana, uh, after Brahman realization, Brahma Janati iti Brahmana, then he will become a Brahmana. So Vyasdeva was concerned, this we have to perform rituals, this samskaras to him. And he was Sukadeva Goswami started walking away, and Vyasdeva started running behind him, calling, "Oh son, please come back," like that. And Sukadeva Goswami by this time was already Brahman realized, and he as a in the form of Brahman, he pervaded all the trees and everything. When Vyasdeva was calling Sukadeva Goswami, and trees were so much identified themselves with Sukadeva Goswami, right? And trees were responding to the Vyasadeva's call. That's what Sukadeva Goswami mentions also in the verse. So, and it happens that when this episode was going on, this thing is going on, Sukadeva Goswami walking without caring for Vyasadeva's calls, and he was walking forth, and some divine ladies, they were taking bath in some lake there. When they saw Sukadeva Goswami coming, they didn't care about him, because they know, like, Prabhupada says, ladies will identify the nature of the man just by seeing that person. So that celestial women, they didn't care about anything. They were bathing in that lake without clothes. So, and they were just they didn't care, and Sukadeva Goswami passed away. And but as soon as Vyasdeva started coming there, and immediately all the ladies gets out of the lake, and then they dress themselves with clothes. And Vyasdeva gets bewildered. What is this? My son is 16 years and he is very young, and you didn't care for him. But uh, how come you? Almost like your grandfather says, how come you are so much concerned about me? Then they said like, no, your son is above all these platforms. Means that's the level of Sukadeva Goswami. So Sukadeva Goswami already Brahman realized. So it is said in other scriptures, no, and Sukadeva Goswami doesn't listen to his father and he goes off only. And then Vyasdeva thinks, okay, this is not the way it's going to work. So he says, he calls two of his disciples, and then he says, you go and narrate verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. No, like you should come across Sukadeva Goswami and somehow narrate the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam in such a way that he listens them. Hmm? So he then that disciples of Vyasdev, they actually like one person like at the at a pond, he was washing clothes, and he was like washing clothes, and then he narrated the verse like Ahobakiyam verse. So where like Krishna gives the position of motherly position to the she demon who comes to give poison to him. So like listening to this verse and the another verse, I am not able to recall that verse. So he listens these two verses decided by these two persons, and he gets so much attracted to, oh, who is this person who has such a magnanimous person, and who's such a loving person, who can use such a position of mother for a she demon who comes to kill him. And he becomes instantly attracted to the qualities of Krishna. Then he goes to that persons and say, I want to, can you narrate me entire story of this person, Krishna? So then he says, oh, actually, more than that, our guru can do that better. So we'll take you to our guru. So then the two disciples of Vyasdev brings Sukadeva Goswami back to Vyasdev, and Vyasdev perform all the what do you call samskaras to him, and then he narrates Srimad Bhagavatam to Sukadeva Goswami. Then Sukadeva Goswami, after hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, he actually travels, and Sukadeva Goswami doesn't stay in one place. He stays in one place only the time it takes to milk a cow. Hmm. So that's how it happened. No, like later on when Parikshit Maharaj meets Sukadeva Goswami, looking at the dedication, looking at the faith of Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami stops with Parikshit Maharaj for 7 days and 7 nights, and then narrates Srimad Bhagavatam. And we'll see that in the next chapters. Okay, if you have any questions or any comments, you can take here now. I hope you are able to follow me.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So
మీరు ఒక శ్లోక ఇది చెప్పారు కదా లాస్ట్ లో పుట్టినప్పుడు శూద్రులుగా ఉంటాము తర్వాత అది అది ఎక్కడ ఉంది ఆ శ్లోక ఎక్కడ
I have to see the reference, Mataji. I noted the shloka, but I don't have the reference. I'll నేను చెప్తాను మీకు. I'll send it to you.
ఓకే ఇంకోటి
You can note down your questions, Mataji, if you want to ask anything, so that don't forget.
ఓకే వ్యాసుదేవ ఇస్ ద సుప్రీం అనేసి ఒక శ్లోకం రిఫర్ చేశారు కదా ప్రభు, అది 17th శ్లోకం ఏ శ్లోక ప్రభు?
Vyasdeva is supreme.
సారీ నాట్ వ్యాసుదేవ, సారీ కృష్ణ ఇస్ ద సుప్రీం పర్సనాలిటీ.
అదా అది 28 to 29 verses. Vasudeva Paraveda, right? That one, right?
అవును ప్రభుజీ.
That is verses 28 to 29.
ఓకే,
You'll come across all those things while reading.
Prabhuji, he loves Shiva and Parvati. ఇది ఎక్కడ చదివారు ప్రభు?
There is in some Purana, Mataji. I heard from the Bhagavatam speakers. I don't. The problem is I don't ask them references. But as per no, it is better you actually consider only the pastime from like Sukadeva Goswami in the womb of in the womb of the mother, in the womb of the wife of Vyasdev. This is better rather than
ఇది కూడా నేను కూడా విన్నాను ప్రభు లెక్చర్స్ లో, సో మెనీ లెక్చర్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ దేర్.
Yeah, I heard
Parrot
from,
related.
yeah, that's why shuka means parrot mata
Yes, yes.
ఎస్ ప్రభా.
in Sanskrit. So we acquire knowledge through many sources, by Shravanam from senior devotees. So we cannot get references every time, right? So, but it is authentic. No, it is in some Purana. Okay, we'll end it here. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
థ్యాంక్ యూ.